right, so anyway, we've got the corn in there, we've got the risotto, we got the stock, we did get the saffron in there. We're going to shred up a little bit of serrano ham, just pull it apart a little bit, put in there. We've got some green onion and some manchego cheese, one of my favorite cheeses. And that's going to give it a lot of depth of flavor there as well. We're going to finish it off with a touch of butter. Risotto always seems like so creamy and rich, and sometimes you will find places that will hit it with like a little splash of cream. I usually don't put cream in my risotto. It's usually all that creaminess just comes from the natural starch of the rice, and I put it with a little bit of butter, because I think the butter's got a much better flavor than just cream. So we hit it with a little touch of butter at the end to give it a little extra richness. So it's looking really nice. Pull apart some serrano ham, and I like the fat on there personally. I think that's the best part of pork, just like Terry used that in his sauce there. That's where all the flavor comes from. I know people get a little scared and ooh, it's got fat, but that's really the best tasting stuff there is. It gives it all its flavor. You've got it on beef, on steaks, we've got that nice marbling going through it, and the fat, it just gives it so much more flavor. Lean might be better for us, but I'm telling you, the fat's what tastes good.
Well, if it wasn't for chefs like us, a cardiologist wouldn't have a job.
There you go. Keep the business. We need a little bumper sticker there, keep the cardiologist in business. I really like the ham, just kind of hand shredded like I'm doing, just pulling it apart. Just gives it kind of rough edges and just pick up a little bit of the flavor and the sauce and just kind of adheres to it a little bit more. Kind of like a, I don't know if you've ever seen just rough pulled croutons and stuff like that. They just have more edges and nooks and crannies. It's good that way.
More places for flavors to grab on.
Yeah, exactly. You also get a regular shakes. I've always liked food where you kind of get a little chunk of this, a little chunk of that. Each bite is a little bit different. I like some texture to my food. I think, when we puree up everything totally smooth, kind of like the gazpacho, I gave you some little chunks there, so every bite can be a little bit different. I like that variety in the bites. If every bite is exactly the same, well, I don't know, I'm going to get bored. I want to eat it all, and I don't want to stop. So.
Macaroni and cheese.
Well, yeah, that is true. There are some good things that just make you not want to stop ever, right? That's because I'll get that too. Let's see, a couple more slices of ham here to prep up. Add a little more potatoes, And the chicken stock, depending on what kind of chicken stock you're using and how salty the chicken broth already is, we want to be careful again on our salt. My chicken broth has got a lot of salt going on in it naturally. And since we're cooking it down, we're evaporating too, so we're going to kind of condense that chicken broth. So I don't really like to add any salt to my risotto until I'm almost at the end. We want to add it early enough that it'll melt into there, but we want to wait till the end because I've also got salted ham going in there that's going to add some more to it as well. And cheese has got some salt in there also. For somebody who never made risotto, you're doing a heck of a job over there, Terry.
So what makes the prosciutto as opposed to other kinds of ham?
Ooh, wow. I might need to phone a friend on that one.
I'll have to drop you off the cash cow.
There you go. You watch that too.
My dad watches that, and I try to tell him, I'm like, Dad, that show is fake. No, it ain't. I'm like, well, then how did they know to have that camera there? And don't you think those people can see that camera right there when they're getting in the cab? Just let me watch this. You can do it yourself.
Oh, what's it, wrestling?
Yeah, I was just like wrestling too.
Watch wrestling too? No, I mean, the prosciutto is salt cured, and it is, it's aged for a very long time, packed in salt. But I really couldn't, there are some very specifics as to how it has to be handled. And I know Brandon downstairs, our deli manager, knows the ins and outs of exactly what makes prosciutto, and serrano. I know I enjoy the flavors, but I have not had the opportunity to make them and get into the science of those. I know what I like.
Spanish pigs versus Italian pigs.
There you go.
But it's
Because I think curing is the same, I think it's just where
Right,
it comes from,
process.
you know?
And I've also heard that there's a special kind of prosciutto, a Parma prosciutto.
Correct.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
And they feed the pigs the byproduct of the Parmesan cheese factory next
Yes.
door or something
Uh-huh.
like that.
And it has said they have to be in Parma, and they eat the processing. part of the
Yeah, what's
cheese.
left
Yes.
over after they
Uh-huh.
make the Parmesan cheese, they feed that to the pigs.
That's a happy stick.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pig that's tired of salt.
He's cured before he gets cured.
Well, I'm always thirsty.
We get any bubbles, Terry?
No, ma'am, no
No
bubbles.
bubbles?
You want bubbles, you want me to slow
Yeah,
down?
turn it up a little, yeah, slow down a little bit, we want some bubbles. One thing, we want to stir our risotto so it doesn't sit and get crusty on the bottom, but if we stir too much, what'll happen is we will let off too much heat, we'll cool it down, and it won't actually be boiling. So we do need, so now we got a little bit of bubbles going on, Terry slowed down, I turned it up a little bit, between the combination, we got some good bubbles going, we want to make sure we do have a boil so it will actually cook. We just got to keep it moving a little bit here and there so we don't get it burned on top. I thought it would give you a little more broth. And what I found too is if I have it up too hot to where I boiled off too much of my liquid and my risotto is not cooked yet, add water after that point if you need to add a little bit, because if you keep adding the chicken stock and you keep evaporating, you're really going to get too rich and possibly too salty as well. So that's why it's a good idea. Go ahead and use a measured amount of chicken stock. If you need more liquid, add water. There, let's go in there. All right, now meanwhile, let's see. And they already made this up for you. The chicken that's going on top of the risotto. I set these aside.
And I saw them prep this chicken, and let me tell you what, it's going to knock your socks off. I want to put my chicken back in the coop after I saw that. But of course, they worked about a month on it before class started.
Let's see. All right, tomatillos. Have y'all cooked with tomatillos before? Have you used them? No? Some of you said nod, some of you smile. I don't think I have any whole ones left. You don't have to have a whole tomatillo, do you?
I thought I saw one back there somewhere.
That'd be cool to show some folks. A tomatillo looks like green tomato, but it's got skin on the outside. And but its closest relative is not a tomato at all. Its closest relative is actually an eggplant. I just always thought that was fascinating. When you eat a tomatillo raw, it'll kind of click for you, because tomatillos raw are really kind of bitter and tart. They can be nice still to add raw to some items, but it's in the nightshade family, so you really do get that bitterness and that tartness from the tomatillo raw. They'll have a papery husk on the outside, almost like the skin of a corn or something, and you'll want to take that off. Tomatillos will feel a little sticky underneath. That's fine. If you want to rinse them off, you can rinse them off, but roasting will be fine too. And we just usually pop them in the oven. I usually roll them around and just a touch of olive oil, a touch of vegetable oil is fine. Even just a little bit of spray. Pop them in the oven. That oil will just help get it hot on the outside. Sorry, y'all are flipping back and forth. We're on the hatch chicken and roasted hatch salsa page. We're making the salsa. Sorry, I should have clarified that first. They don't know where we're going.
We're just enjoying the story.
I know. There you go. So we want to roast our tomatillos a little bit in the oven, get a little bit of golden brown on them. It's going to sweeten them up a little bit. They'll still be acidic, they'll still be a little bit tart, but not quite as bright.